Welcome to another episode of Preferred Walk-On. I'm your host, Max Chadwick. We've got another top 10 positional ranking for you guys today, and it's my top 10 interior offensive linemen in college football heading into the 2023 season. So the interior offensive line consists of both guards and centers. So these are my top 10 guards and centers in college football, combining them into one ranking heading into next season. If you haven't already, check out these series of positional rankings that I've done so far, and also check out all of the interviews that I've done so far as well with some of the top players and media personalities in college football. And spoiler alert, the number one player on this list is the next interview that we have on this channel. So of course, hit that subscribe button. Of course, as always, follow me on Twitter and TikTok at MaxChadwickCFB. So let's kick it off with my number 10 interior offensive lineman in college football heading into next season. And that is Christian Mahogany from Boston College, who missed all of last season with a torn ACL that he suffered in June, but he still deserves a spot on this list for what he did in 2021. As a redshirt sophomore, he was one of 6 Power 5 guards who earned 80-plus grades as a pass blocker and as a run blocker. He was a second-team All-American for PFF that season. Now, if he can return to form, he could be a lot higher on this list than just number 10. But like I said before, he missed all of last season, but I'm still buying all the stock in Christian Mahogany heading into next year. At number 9 is a guy who's getting a lot of hype for the 2024 NFL Draft, and deservedly so. That is Donovan Jackson from Ohio State, who's a guard. He was a top 15 recruit coming out in the 2021 class. He really began to live up to that hype in his sophomore season, his first year as a starter. He earned a 76.7 grade, which was a top 10 mark among all Power 5 guards this past season. He had 9 big-time blocks, too, which are PFF's highest graded blocks, which were tied for 6th among Power 5 guards as well. So number 9 is Donovan Jackson from Ohio State. Number 8 is the first center on this list, and that is Zak Frazier from West Virginia. Among returning Power 5 centers over the last 2 seasons, none of them had a higher grade than Frazier's 82 mark. He was also the most valuable Power 5 center over those last 2 seasons, according to PFF's wins above average metric. He had an 80.9 run blocking grade, which ranked 6th among all centers in the country this past season. So at number 8 is Zak Frazier, the center from West Virginia. At number 7 is Tate Ratledge, the guard from Georgia. He really did a masterful job of protecting Stetson Bennett during their national championship run this past season. He had an 85.6 pass blocking grade on true pass sets, which ranked 2nd among all guards in the country. He only allowed a pressure on 1.4% of his pass blocking snaps, which was the 3rd lowest rate for Power 5 guards. He was an elite pass protector, not a dominant run blocker, but he deserves a spot on this list for how good he is as a pass blocker. So number 7 is Tate Ratledge from Georgia. Number 6 is the highest ranked center on this list, also a transfer. That is Drake Nugent, who's going from Stanford to Michigan this upcoming season. And, Michigan loses the Outland Trophy winner in Olu Oluwatimi, but they still have elite play in the middle of that offensive line with who I consider to be the best returning center in college football. He's the most valuable returning center from last season in PFF's wins above average metric. He had an 84.1 run blocking grade, which was 3rd among all centers in the country this past season. So you got Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards, 2 top 10 running backs in the country, in my opinion, and Drake Nugent opening up holes for them in the middle of that offensive line. Their A-gap, B-gap run game in Michigan should be alive and well next season. So at number 6 is Drake Nugent. At number 5 is Justin Dedich, the offensive guard from USC. USC had a really underrated offensive line, and I think a lot of people thought they had a terrible offensive line, when in reality, Caleb Williams had one of the highest average time to throws in college football. So he put a lot of pressure on himself and not really at the fault of the offensive line. USC had one of the best offensive lines in the country. They were the only offensive line in the country with 85-plus pass blocking grades and run blocking grades as a unit, and a big reason why was Justin Dedich. One of the best interior offensive lines in college football. He was one of the guards there. Brett Nealon, the center, Andrew Voorhees, one of the other guards. They're both in the NFL now, so Justin Dedich is the only returner from probably the best interior offensive line in college football. He led all Power 5 guards with a 90 pass blocking grade this past season. He had the most pass blocking snaps in the country without allowing a sack or a hit. So on 528 pass blocking snaps, Justin Dedich didn't allow a single sack or a hit to Caleb Williams. So he's number 5 on my list. At number 4 is a UConn player, Christian Haynes. They made it to their first bowl game in 7 years this past season, and one of the biggest reasons was the dominance of their interior offensive line, and Christian Haynes was the leader of that group. He had a 91 pass blocking grade, which led all offensive guards in the country. His 84.6 run blocking grade was 6th among all guards in the country. He had 16 big-time blocks, like I mentioned before, PFF's highest graded blocks, which led all guards in the country as well. So number 4 is Christian Haynes from UConn. At number 3 is Zak Zinter from Michigan. They're one of their guards there. He's one of Michigan's 3 returning starters on that offensive line, which is the first ever 2-time defending winner of the Joe Moore Award, which is given to the nation's best offensive line. So Zak Zinter, one of the returning starters from the best offensive line in college football. He was the second most valuable guard in the Power 5 this past season, according to PFF's wins above average metric. On 389 pass blocking snaps, Zinter only surrendered 9 pressures on those 389 pass blocking snaps. So number 3 is Zak Zinter from Michigan. At number 2 is Beaux Limmer from Arkansas, who's an all-around stud for the Razorbacks at right guard. The redshirt junior, who's now a redshirt senior this year, he was only one of 3 Power 5 guards who had 80-plus grades, both as a pass blocker and as a run blocker. So only 3 Power 5 guards had 80-plus grades in both aspects, and Beaux Limmer was one of them. Among returning FBS interior offensive linemen over the last 2 years, only Cooper Beebe, who we'll talk about in a little bit, has been more valuable than Beaux Limmer, according to PFF's wins above average metric. So Beaux Limmer, the number 2 interior offensive lineman for me, and number 1 is Cooper Beebe from Kansas State, who plays all over the Kansas State offensive line. And like I said before, he's the next interview that we have, and one of my favorite interviews I've done so far. He was absolutely hilarious. I love talking to Cooper Beebe, so make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that one coming next week. But yeah, Cooper Beebe really played his first 2 years as a starter at offensive tackle and was really good there. Played right tackle the first year, left tackle in 2021. Then he moved inside to left guard this past season. Over the last 2 years, he has a 94 pass blocking grade, which leads all offensive linemen in the country, regardless of position, tackle, guard, center. Cooper Beebe has the highest pass blocking grade in the country over the last 2 seasons, despite playing 2 different positions on the offensive line. Over those last 2 seasons, he has 770 pass blocking snaps. He didn't allow a sack on any one of those nearly 800 pass blocking snaps. He's the most valuable returning interior offensive lineman in the country over those last 2 seasons, according to PFF's wins above average metric. No matter where he lines up, he even told me he's lining up at center a little bit this offseason, trying to get the whole spectrum going between tackle, guard, and center. No matter where he lines up, he's an elite offensive lineman and should be a first-round pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. That's what I got for my top 10 interior offensive linemen in college football. Let me know down below what you think about my list, who's missing from my list, and make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. But I'll see you guys next time.